Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Wednesday night live sketch. That's right, a night live sketch, not to be confused with the lunch one, because this week is a holiday here in the United States, and this week just got a little crazy, so I decided to push it to nighttime instead. Tonight, my brother Phil from the Schmoozle is joining me, so he's going to chime in every once in a while with some anecdotes about our topic of the night, which is Shadow of the Colossus. I wanted to do the first Colossus we came across, which was Valis. I actually did not know his name until a few days ago. I didn't realize that he had a name. Whoa, what is that?
I think I just see my face on the screen.
Oh, I have
like I'm looking at the
ad. An ad just went up.
I'm looking at the streams, and it's just like me blinking at myself.
For some reason, yeah, I see you looking around, Phil. I apologize for.
Sorry, and I'm. It looks like it's on a loop. It's just me stuck blinking.
Yeah, I don't know. It should be sharing just a live event. Share the screen.
It's always a thing.
Can you see it?
I still see me.
Is your face?
Now I see me talking. Yeah, it's just me. I'm sorry, I ruined everything. I showed up, and you clicked the right thing.
I'm hitting present to everyone.
Yeah, there you go. Now you're presenting to everyone. Maybe you had to do that. I don't know. I was gonna say maybe you had to do that live, but
I guess so. Maybe you're right. Maybe I had to do it while it was streaming live.
I still see me talking on the thing. I really apologize that like your intro is literally my face.
You looking back and
it's not even like it's not even like the right person. Not even like so there's just like this disembodied voice
coming out of his head.
Yeah.
It's still you talking down there too.
It is me talking. And the chat is still disabled, it seems.
That's really strange. Let me go into I mean, who cares at this point? I'm just gonna go into the settings and see if I can
It's still my face. You know, if you really want if we can't figure this out, I'll just
You're gonna dump?
Well, yeah, I'll just hop off. I don't wanna I'm ruining your thing.
I mean, the changes are supposed to be there. I don't know why my screen is not sharing.
Well,
I'm so glad everyone can see you.
Yeah, they're not even seeing the host. They're not even seeing the host.
Yeah, I don't know why that would be.
It's literally me looking around. Oh, that's so weird.
Let me just do my entire screen, I guess. Let me do that. Present.
And then you tweeted the link link that I don't know if it auto tweets or not for you, but it tweeted it like in Spanish or something.
Spanish.
Look at. I'll send you the Twitter link.
Is it still your face up there?
I think so. Yeah, I think I'll just hop off. You'll just have to start without me, and I'll just watch like everybody else. And
well, I like that it was in Spanish.
I sent you the link.
It's
still my face.
All right. Well, if you want, you can go away, and it doesn't matter. Maybe what I'll do is,
Well, I don't know if you want to restart the whole thing.
Yeah, maybe do a restart. We'll see how it works. It's no big deal. I mean, there's nobody watching now anyway, right? So who cares?
Well, there were three watching.
That was you and me.
And plus one other. All right. Yeah. All right. I'll hop off. I'm sorry I ruined it.
That's okay. The stream is offline, it says. It's very strange. All right, dude. So just jump off, and if you don't mind hanging in the chat room, and I'm probably just going to restart the stream again.
All right.
Okay.
Sorry, dude.
That's okay.
I'm sorry I blew it.
That's fine. Go away. Bye.
Bye.
Whoa. Now you probably can see me. Here comes me. So let me see if I can go into the that's okay, Phil. He's sending me text messages apologizing. I'm going to assume you can probably see my screen now. And so let's just get moving here with Valis if we can. I'm pretty sure that you guys can see what's going on here now. Yeah, it looks like it's working. I'm not quite sure why that was like that, because my brother and I we do request lives on his channel, and we both screen share at the same time, and we bounce back and forth. So I mean, it could be something that I was just doing on my end, because I don't quite know what I'm doing. And it's also disturbing that the live comments seem to be kind of not working properly on the YouTube section. So let's just see really quickly. So, I mean, we're already kind of going down that path, so why don't we Why don't we just take a peek and see what's going on here? Hopefully we have a live. The comments are disabled, which I don't quite understand why it would say that. If I go into the live control room, and if I hit card and settings, and if I go into the settings here, enable chat, chat is enabled. Yeah, I don't know why I wouldn't do it. It's very strange. Who knows? Go back onto the watch page. Here comes a silly ad I want to skip. Okay, well, let's just get to it, shall we? So like I was saying earlier before we got sidetracked there, one of these days we'll figure that out and we'll be like professionals and have an idea of what we're doing. But what I wanted to do for this week was I actually kind of wanted to phone it in a little bit. I wanted to do something more easier and cartoony, and because like I said, I had limited time available to me. And then I put on the soundtrack to Shadow of the Colossus, and like I got pumped, and I was like, I gotta draw one of these. I gotta draw one of these guys. So that's what happened. It went from trying to have a pretty relaxing week, because like I said, it was a holiday, crunch time at work a little bit. I had some freelance I was juggling. Next thing you know, I'm taking on this guy. Which the thing with these guys is that they're very ornate, and I do notice that there are differences between what we see in the game, and I have my reference open, as you can see. And there's differences in the body type, and the way the hair is treated in the massing of the mane, and so I feel like I can take some liberties here with this guy. So he's got horns that are broken. So we can do it. What I started to do earlier on was just mass in ideas. Got a general idea of what I wanted his body to do, and I tried to just also figure out his. I don't want to. Yeah, his anatomy. Trying to figure out how he worked a little bit. This hand is already incorrect. I can see. So as I normally do, I'm just going through the phase of just blocking things in. I'm roughing in some shapes, and he's very trunk heavy, has a lot of trunk, very small midriff, scaffolding and whatnot. And he's got chunks of armor that also serves as scaffolding in in-game. And he's got some knee pads going on here, so we're just going to block in ideas of where things exist. He's got hooves. I can tell already the head is way too big. That is one of my big issues in general. His cranium is way smaller. And like the mass of his, he does appear to have a jaw. So let's just knock some of this down and build it back up again. So again, this is the jaw area. This would be his cranium. His horns would come around here someplace. And I'm working quickly and loosely. You can tell already that if this is the center line of his torso right here, his mane would come around here more. I use the word mane only to describe this thick hair, this massive hair that's growing on his chest. An interesting thing about his face, well, I'll get to the face later. I just want to have an idea of where it exists for now. Don't you agree, Phil? Oh, goodness gracious. And one of my ideas initially was to have a very strong lean on his shoulder here, have this shoulder raised, this one lowered, but I can tell that maybe there's some leaning going on, that perhaps this arm is leaning too much this way. So one of the tricks we'll do is we'll just zoom out pretty far, and I want to squint at it, which removes all of our detail. And I can see that maybe this screen left arm is too short. And I want to just grab the lasso and just pull it down. We can pull it down. Deselect, and we'll zoom back out again, squint, and I can see that it's looking better. It's looking at least more on par with our screen right arm. Now, this part of the process, again, is we're just trying to find his gesture, his pose, his attitude, and all of this is it's all ready to be changed. I already see that, like, my initial idea for this arm, as I'm revisiting it over and over again, is that I would like to relax it a little more. I had it a little too straight, and I want to put a little bit of a bend in it. Here's his shoulder mass, going down into an elbow. There we go, and just relax it a little bit. And as we work the drawing more and more and more, as we go over it more and more, we zoom out again. See, I'm already working it more, and I can see that I'm feeling better about the direction of it. And this part of the process is important, and because it's setting the stage of, it's the skeleton, it's the skeletal structure that everything is going to rest upon. And if it's not working here, and this is the design of it, if the design is not working here, all of the intricate detail that you see going on here, it doesn't matter. It's lipstick on a pig. But if I have something that's interesting looking, and if I can, even at this state, like at this very basic state, if I zoom out, I'm like, oh, okay, I can see what's going on there, and it's looking more interesting, then, you know, I'm onto something. So one of the issues with this guy is his hands are big, and so I guess I don't mind that overlap here over top of his hand, over top of the rump. He's got reversed legs too, like an ox. And now the other thing, the question is, what do I want to do with his leg that we can't see? Where is it? He's taking a step. So do I want to have the hint of a foot back there? You know, let's just do a quick, let's just shade it in and do our trick again where we zoom out and look. And like, I guess he's not looking too, I'm afraid of that looking off balanced. So what I might have to do is take this front leg, grab our lasso, and just move it a little forward because he needs to catch his balance. He's looking off balance. Okay, that's looking better. Right? And we're looking loose and everything is expendable at this point. So I can freely do this type of stuff. Let's put our knee back in there. Here's that. We'll get back to it. That's the shin guard, and then the hooves that reverse on themselves. You know. And now it's looking a little better. I feel a little more confident about this. Zoom back out again. And it's looking better. Yeah, it looks like he's not going to fall over, right? And the next thing we can do is we can take our image and we can transform it and flip it. Let's hide our reference. And do the same thing again. We zoom back out again. And if it's working like this, if I flip it and like I don't have a freak, if I don't freak out because all these mistakes suddenly jump out at me, then I know I'm on the right track. So we can just flip him back. We'll bring our reference back up again. And now, speaking of gesture, one of the things I realized is that these guys in particular, because I suppose in the mechanics of the game, they're very stiff. I guess it's because they're huge and they can't really move too much, probably because of technical limitations of the PlayStation 2 at the time. Wait, holy crap, was it the PS2 or 3? Sure. I'm drawing a blank. I think it's the PS2. Forgive me on my video game lore. I'm drawing a blank. So they're kind of stiff. So that kind of limited some of the things I think I could do with them. So now what I think I want to do next is I want to grab my reference. I want to pull it over a little more, and I want to get into his face, start working his face a little more. And there was a couple things I noticed as I worked on his as I practiced earlier on. I was just trying some different things out. Is that he's got a few things going on. Is that his brow here, very prominent brow. actually has, I've just been told it's the PS2 port 3. What does that mean, Phil? Phil's texting me. Even from the shadows, he's still supporting me. He may have ruined the live stream, but he's giving me information. The brow is that it's a very sympathetic brow. And these eyes are very sympathetic eyes. And there's a curvature of his head that's going on here. And I feel like what I want to do right now is I want to help illustrate that a little bit. I want to pull down my thumbs, make a new layer, and work on top. And I want to kind of help show what I'm... So if this is our cranium, I want to help explain that a little better. We have a brow that protrudes a little bit. And we have the hint of the side of his face, and then our nose, very prominent nose. Ported to the PlayStation 3, excuse me, everybody, thank you. He has a pretty big nose. And I'm just going to give it an idea of where it exists right now. Just get that shape in there. It's pretty large, and this is coming down here. There's a curvature of his head, and if I was to draw a dotted line, it would go something like this. Right? It kind of, I want to draw an arrow. It goes like this, right? And what that does is, and I've thought about this, the reason why that curvature is important, and here's an eye line, let's put it in there, is that it gives the eyes a bit of a slant, which almost, again, makes them sympathetic. You can almost imagine that this guy is looking maybe confused, a little lost, which is very smart design because it plays into the whole concept of the game, of what we're even doing in the first place with these guys. So he has a little bit of a ridge right here. Okay. And this definitely protrudes a bit more, the nose. You know, often a good trick is to just diagram things, is to measure things and see where they fall in relationship to other landmarks, an eye or the ear. So I know that the nostril here is relatively in the middle, midpoint, or maybe the bottom of the eye. So I'm in the right ballpark. And by diagramming, I mean I'm drawing lines that really, they're just solely for the purpose of construction. They're there to help me see visually where things lay. You can see this needs to be thicker. Anyway, I thought that was pretty interesting. And we imagine he has a mouth in here someplace. Actually, I could tell already he doesn't have, the nose is very prominent, and I probably am off with it. So let's just kind of dump what I have going on here. And we'll work this nose a little bigger. Here's the front plane of the nose, the side plane of the nose, disappearing somewhere behind this massive fur. And I would imagine this is a jawline under here we can't see because there's so much fur. Center line of the nose coming down. And it appears that he has like 4 nostrils, which is crazy. And he's got some hair. Top, short, tufty hair. Okay. Something. We can pull out a little bit, see how we're doing here. This is, the nose needs to be adjusted just a tad more. It's all about adjusting. You look at it, think, give it some thought, and then adjust it. Erase. That's why we have an eraser. This horn is probably a little low. We can bring that horn up. And what we're doing is just, and the hair is way too tufty. This is too long. This could be shorter. Cropped. little shorter. Okay, so let's bring down, move my reference back to the way again. Let's start bringing in our these long hairs. He's kind of got like these. See, like these guys, like on this one, it's almost like samurai type shoulder pads. But here in the game model, which you can't see, I just circled it with gray. Way more reserved looking. So it's like, you know, where do you? I'm gonna go somewhere in between, I suppose. You know, these shoulder pads, which by the way, the figure is pretty awesome, pretty cool. And he's got some musculature going on here, like lumpy. I mean, you know, like lumpy type stuff going on. Let me save. Saving is very important. Please, please, please save your projects as you work. I hope you guys are drawing with me. If anyone's listening, if anyone's hanging out, I hope you have your sketchbooks out. You don't have to be drawing what I'm drawing. What's important is just to draw. And you know, we can get lost in some of the detailing here, so I'm going to just mass it in. I may have this fist too big. May have that fist a little too big. His hands are, I can go a little chunkier with the hands. So this is our knuckle line, and we'll just, the hands, they'll roll away, but we won't see them anymore. And he has a hand, again, it's different. You know, I'm looking at the figure and I'm looking at what's the in-game model. You know, this little piece of armor that's on the back of the hand, it's different. So I can pick and choose. The scaffolding at first, I mean, that just looks like so many belts on the character, on the, you know. And some of it's treated as a belt. Some of it, if I remember correctly, let me zoom out a little bit. I feel like maybe this piece here is a little far under the eye. We can come in just a little bit, bring it in. You know, there we go. And let's start moving a little faster, shall we? So we'll find his other shoulder armor. It's rolling here behind him. Again, just like really, I can see already. Maybe this forearm is. I know I pulled it down earlier, but maybe I pulled it down just a hair too small. There we go. Cool. Let's keep working. And again, I can take liberties with some of this stuff because the amount of detailing that's going on in some of this is just way. You can get lost in it, and sometimes it's just not that important, you know. It's just not that important. What's important is the attitude of the character. I like the broken horns. Look how they're clearly broken. Let's add some detailing in here. We'll definitely go through this again one more time, I think, and tie it down a lot more. And by tying it down, I mean taking what we have and refining it. I'd also probably go a little longer in tonight's live sketch than I normally do, mainly because, like I said, it's the holiday weekend, so I'm not going to be around my computer as much. And I'd like to have something to post, something a little more finalized. This always gives me trouble. This type of reversed, the anatomy of it is so crazy, you know. Probably because I don't have the knee block shooting out far enough. I did it again. I did this very similar mistake. You know, I also know he does have some fur going on these legs, so I can hide some of that. Honestly, I can cheat, you know. So let's take some liberties where I can. He's got some hooves, and there's some circles going on in there. And again, he's got armor going on in his legs that echoes what's happening up in his forearm. Let's work this hand over here. So I know already that I want to play it a little more. Take this thumb. Here's the top of the thumb knuckle. It tucks underneath itself. And now this thing is just absurd. It's crazy. It's crazy club. I mean, there's like no, the only thing I can hope to do really is just, let's just get our perspective in there the best that we can get, because it's coming at us a little bit in perspective. It's cylindrical. So the important thing is to get the shape of it right anyway. Anything else, like I said, is just, it's gravy. As long as I have as long as it has a solid mass, as long as it has a convincing weight to it, anything I do to it is just, it's gravy. As long as we get the silhouette of it working. You know, I definitely want it to end around here someplace, because I want it to fill this space in between the knee and the hand. Okay. And what I want to do now is zoom back out again and squint and remove some of our extraneous detail. Now I'm going really far. Maybe you guys can't see it, but for me, you know, it's like I said, it's an old, like I always say before, it's an old trick. Save my document. It's an old trick I used to do in college. Hold on, let me take a sip of beer. I mean juice. Let me take a sip of juice. When I was in college, I used to draw on paper, obviously, and I would, whatever I was working on, I would put it on the bottom of the steps and walk all the way across my house and squint at it. And immediately all of my issues, all of my problem areas would pop up. So that's exactly what this is replicating. When I squint and zoom out, you can see all the issues. Everything pops out. So the next thing I think I want to do is just maybe pull this layer down again a little bit. Pull it down. Maybe even get rid of my thumb layer, keep it around for some construction purposes. And I want to just go into a tie-down layer. Tie-down. The tie-down layer is, I feel like I got a shape in pretty tie-dye. Nope. T-I-E-D-O-W-N. I have a pretty good body shape working. I have a pretty good silhouette working. And now what I want to do is just go in there, maybe even make my pencil a little darker. Maybe make it a little bigger too. And I really kind of want to go in there and start defining a lot of this. And at this point in the game, you've kind of done a lot of your homework already. You have a pretty good idea of where you want things to be, and a lot of the guesswork has been taken out. I'm going to go a little more sketchy with this. And, you know, we can kind of get in there and, you know, like I said, a lot of the guesswork is done. Now it's time for us just to get in there and really start nailing our shapes. And again, the shapes are the underlying structures. Where's my reference? It's got some 2 rows of bricks up there, so we can try and replicate some of that. Wait, hold on. They subdivide like this. Okay. And there's some thickness here, so we have to kind of find that. So thickness to this ridge. You may have to pull the eye in a little bit, or excuse me, scoot it down. And let's define this. And I remember there's some bricks going on here. I'm just cheating every once in a while just to see what the deal is. And the problem again with these guys is that they're so busy, they can become very hard to read. And I think they were still pretty, the game designers were pretty smart in that they're not like the Transformers, the new Transformers, where it's like I can't understand what I'm looking at half the time with that stuff. Maybe that's just me being old or something. I don't know, but I mean, these guys still have a lot of extraneous detail going on, but they're still legible. You can see them and you understand what you're looking at. So that's, again, that just goes to how smart they were when they were designing these guys. And yeah, like I was saying, I think I want to nudge this eye down a little bit. I went down to my layer below. I'm going to lasso it and just nudge it down a little bit. Okay, I feel good about that. And try and take our time here a little bit and make sure we really get this eye in. And it's got thickness. It's like a ring. It's like a ring of some sort. And we'll give it a little heavier on this side. And I'm not even quite, right now, I don't really know how I'm going to deal with that lighting effect they have going on in there. I'm going to leave it for now. I'm going to get back to it at a later date. And so now we can go into these shoulder pads, and we can gussy them up a little bit. We can add some thickness to these. Gussy them up. I haven't used that in forever. What the heck? Add a little thickness to that. Here's an edge. You know, we can even add some cracks to it. Doesn't have to be perfect because this guy is kind of a mess. So that's always fun. Let's try and vary it up a little bit with short hairs and long hairs and get some variety to make sure this is reading as a mass, not just like some random sporadic mess, so that there's some sense and purpose. And I think that's really always what I'm trying to nail home, or excuse me, drive home, is that you should have a purpose with everything that you do. You know, it's not nothing. It's not brainless. There's no. We can add some. We can go back in. Add this in. I wish my eraser wasn't acting so goofy lately. That everything has some thought behind it. You know, you're not just making hairs and going like this. You know what I mean? You're you know, in my head, I was thinking as I was doing it, where's the hair? Where does it go? I want a thick one against a thin one. I want to clump some hair together, play it off. Let's look over here. Play it off of each other a little bit, you know. My razor, pull it down. Pull this out a little bit. And what we're going to do is start maybe moving into a little bit quicker. Yeah, I mean, like the detailing here on the hands and the arms. We can bend this up a little bit. This is way chunkier than what I have it. And again, a lot of this, if you have never played the game, is because it serves a purpose. Your character is climbing all over this stuff. I'll make the assumption that you've played it already. And if you haven't, you should. Definitely one of my all-time favorite games. Ugh, hold on. Got a tangent going on there. Avoid that. Chunky thumbs. Chunky hands. All right. I feel like we can probably put a little bit of detailing in here. And try and keep it varied a little bit. know, we're definitely cheating a little bit there. It's a cheat. Same thing here with this crazy belt / scaffolding he's got going on that you crawl around in the game. You know, we can definitely build out some of it. Oops. See, that was random. So was that one slightly. I wasn't quite thinking what I was doing, so we had to build it up a little bit. He's got another piece over here. There we go. Now they sit better, don't they? I mean, we can give the idea that this thing is made up of a bunch of bricks. Oof. Hope you guys are enjoying this. I'm having a good time, actually. This is pretty fun. This guy's fun. Do you remember being really blown away the first time I saw this guy? Let's give the hint of a rib cage. He also frustrated the living shit out of me. One of the things that did not sit too well with me was the controls in this game were not forgiving. Some depth there. Here's this upper thigh piece of armor. And we'll give it some thickness. Anything over here, some thickness would be nice. It's getting a little flat. A little flat. That problem is there's probably not enough overlap happening with the area above it. This is not true. So let's work this a little better. Needs to be a little more cylindrical. Build some thickness. There we are. It's better. Sits better. You know? Doesn't look like it's broken. Judiciously adding in a little dent into the side. Remember, he's got some hair. All right, let's start getting the rest of this in. So he's got a little bit of this shoulder pad coming over here. Shoulder rolling away. Bicep. And then we can start massing in these little cliff type scaffolding things that he holds onto. And we'll make this one a little different. Okay, I'll throw a little bit of a curve into it. Or excuse me, an angle. Just throw it off. Okay. Save. Work this cudgel, his shillelagh. Alright, let's take a look at our reference again. Could probably spare a little detail here. I'm rotating my Cintiq, which you guys cannot see. As you can probably tell from my video resolution, I have a very older Cintiq. I have one of the first 21-inch monitors that came out. That was back in 2005. Still kicking. Let's give this some thickness, some depth. Okay. What's going on with the cudgel here? We can maybe just add some, again, I think we can get away with some stuff here. You know? Let's give the impression that there's a little bit of a dip there. And again, it's like this can go, you can go forever detailing this thing. And that's just not what I want to do tonight. It's not the point. I'm pretty sure I can just get away with maybe just adding some lines receding. That looks okay. Okay. Now we have to work in his back foot here. Maybe I go a little smaller. Theoretically, it's pushed back into space. That has lots of armor on it too. All right, so why don't we save again? Why don't we just quick throw in some tone, and we'll call this guy done. You know, he has some problem areas. We can thicken the line up a little bit here and there. And we'll make another layer. Let's call it tone. Now the question is, I think I want to stick with the pencil, make it really crazy big. And unfortunately, that's probably when my machine crashes. And I want to pull this down a little bit, or maybe even just pull the opacity down. Maybe take down to like 60 or let's take a look. So let's see where his, we can just put some tone in here at the bottom of the nose. On the side. You know, I'm trying to keep in mind where our light source is. I feel like this side of his face would be pretty heavy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And these strokes, I'm trying to match what I have here. They're not random. This will be in shadow. And what I might do is, there's some shadow here. This is probably mainly in shadow. And again, this is like so much detailing going on here. Back of the hand can be in shadow. This whole area here can be in shadow. You know, this leg could be coming into the light. Or this back one. See ya. Mainly in shadow. Maybe some light is getting it. You guys aren't bored to death. So what we're doing is just blocking things in, just trying, and again, this is important. All of everything I'm doing right now may appear to be happening quickly, but I want to point something out. The reason it may appear that I am quickly putting these tones in is because I already kind of have an idea of what I want to do, and it all goes back to this. I have a very good, at this point now in the drawing, I have a pretty good understanding of where the planes fall and where I think light is going to hit. So I always say I've done my homework. Well, it's true. I've done my homework. I have a pretty good idea where things go in the sky. So it can only be so many places where light is going to fall and hit. All right, one more thing I think we can do probably is we can do another layer of tone on this. So this would be our mid-tone. And we can go a little darker, we can get another. And we can just punch in some areas that are, you know, so we'll give this a nice, things that are really in shadow, you know, back there. Really getting kind of dark in here. These are really getting kind of dark in here, and like in the armpit, it's a pretty common area, you know. And then anything that's sharp, so there would be a cast shadow under here, marking down the arms. Cast shadow here. This would be an area that is a shadow is being cast by another object. A cast shadow under here. So we have a cast here. So this whole torso would be casting there. Make that a little darker. Cast shadow under here. And it's really kind of emphasized this leg going off into distance. Now let's feel like I can get another layer, another one, just stick it in there. Let's get another layer. It's too much. Go down a little bit. There we go. Really punch our areas. I think that'll about do it for this. Let's just find a couple more areas. Let's step back. I feel like one thing I could do is maybe go into tone and get a lighter gray, or silly. Grab a blue. We can use some color. I think we're allowed to do that. We can put some color in there, maybe even a little bit of white. And if we go that far, maybe what we should do is zoom in a little bit. Darken the whole area up. It's got like a hole in his head. It's a floating eye in there. Let's build that back up again. some blue. We'll hit it with a white right in the middle. Very ghostly. Oh, that's kind of cool. I like that. All right. Let's just put a shadow under his legs. Let's get something chunky. I always got chunky charcoal, and I never like it. But let's see what happens. Ah, see? I already don't like it. Pull the opacity down. Make it big. Work sporadically with it. This particular with chunky charcoal, I like the idea of it, but I don't know, I never, in execution, seems the less the better. I'm just kind of dabbing. All right, so there we go. Let's pull back out a little bit. And see any trouble areas? I feel like maybe lost a little bit of the tone of the shoulder, or excuse me, the bicep. I feel like that needs to be refined a little bit again. I feel like we lost it a little bit. Let's pull it back. And I feel like the shoulder plane just kind of find an edge there, and let's put some more of this in shadow. All right. Okay. Well, I think that's going to do it for now. I think one more thing. Let's just put the tip of this. Let's try that. Move a little bit darker again. Pull out some of these tones. Yeah, I don't know. That's neither here nor there. I don't know. I mean, I lost. This got flattened in some of it. Not fantastic. Maybe I'll work it a little bit more later on. We'll get up more of a final product. But for now, I'd like to thank you guys for joining me. Next weekend, I'm going to try to start it again at my normal time, around lunchtime, noonish, Eastern Standard Time. I'm not quite sure what the next week's topic will be, but I thank you very much for joining me. I thank my brother Phil for coming out and showing us his face. We do a request light live every Thursday, so if you're interested in seeing that, that'd be awesome too. You can follow me on Twitter, Ganklin, Ganklin, or you can find me on Google Plus at Frank Summers Animation. Just give me an old circle there. And that'll be it for today, I think. Thank you once again for joining me, and have a good night.